how bad is Jonathan Kuminga? He's actually really bad. So bad that the Warriors didn't even give him coaching staff to help him with his jump shot after a game. In this video, we are going to talk about what actually went wrong with Kuminga and explain how bad he actually is. When the Warriors picked Kuminga 7th overall in 2021, it was seen as a gamble with upside. Golden State wasn't just drafting for now, they were drafting for life after Steph, Klay, and Draymond. But here's the problem, they were still contending. That meant Kuminga would be caught in limbo, too raw to earn real playoff minutes, yet too talented to bury at the end of the bench. The result? Inconsistent development. He averaged just 16 minutes per game as a rookie. Kuminga looked lost. His feel for the game lagged far behind his athleticism. Instead of learning through reps, he sat, watched, and when he played, he often hurt the team's flow. That gamble, it hasn't paid off. Yet. Let's look past the highlight dunks and ask the hard question. Is Jonathan Kuminga actually effective? Over his first 4 seasons, Kuminga's advanced stats are troubling. His offensive rating hovered around 106, well below league average. His usage rate went up, but his assist percentage stayed flat. That tells us he's not creating for others. He doesn't stretch the floor, shooting under 33% from 3. His defensive box plus-minus? Negative every year. For a guy billed as a two-way menace, that's alarming. And when he's not dunking, he's a black hole offensively. Kuminga has elite physical tools, but very few elite basketball skills. If there's one thing that separates potential stars from actual stars, it's decision-making. And for Jonathan Kuminga, this might be the single biggest weakness holding him back. Let's break it down. The Golden State Warriors offense is often praised as one of the most intricate systems in the NBA. It's built on constant movement, off-ball screens, split cuts, and lightning-fast reads. Players need to know when to move, when to cut, when to pass, and when to space the floor. And here's the issue. Kuminga looks completely overwhelmed in that environment. He's often a beat late on rotations, slow to recognize mismatches, and robotic in his movements. When he gets the ball, he doesn't scan the floor. He locks in on the rim and forces the issue. That tunnel vision turns promising possessions into wasted opportunities. Too many times he drives into double teams without a plan, leading to awkward shots or live ball turnovers. His assist percentage is low, hovering around just 9%, which for a wing with his usage is alarmingly low. It shows he's not reading defenses. He's reacting blindly. You'd expect these issues from a 19-year-old rookie. But 4 years in, it's still the same story. Basketball IQ is often hard to teach, but it's essential at the NBA level. The truly great wings, Kawhi, Tatum, Jimmy Butler, aren't just athletes. They're thinkers. They slow the game down. Kuminga still plays at one speed, reckless. Defensively, it's the same problem. He'll jump at every pump fake, overhelp when he shouldn't, and fall asleep on backdoor cuts. His instincts just haven't improved. Watch any Warriors game and you'll see Steve Kerr constantly barking instructions at Kuminga from the sideline. He has to be micromanaged through every possession. That's not the mark of a reliable rotation player. Even his shot selection screams unaware. He'll settle for long twos early in the clock, or pull up from mid-range with defenders all over him. His true shooting percentage is well below league average, and it's not because he can't make shots, it's because he takes bad ones. Kuminga plays basketball like it's still high school. Athleticism first, think later. And in the NBA, that doesn't cut it. The tragic part? He's not a selfish player. He's just a confused one. He wants to contribute, wants to help, but doesn't know how. The game is still too fast for him mentally, and unless he figures out how to slow it down, how to think the game, he'll never be more than a highlight reel athlete trapped in a role player's ceiling. Behind the scenes, there's been tension. Reports have surfaced of frustration from the coaching staff about Kuminga's work ethic and focus. Steve Kerr, known for his patience, has publicly questioned Kuminga's consistency. At times, the Warriors simply didn't trust him in close games. In the past playoffs, he logged DNPS, not because of injury, but because he couldn't be trusted. He reportedly felt confused and frustrated by his role. That's never a good sign for a young player. There have even been whispers that Kuminga struggles with film study and translating coaching into action. Warriors assistant coaches have reportedly had to simplify concepts for him, dumbing down coverages and spacing schemes just to help him survive on the floor. Instead of asking how to get better, Kuminga's camp has reportedly questioned the system. But maybe it's not the system. Maybe it's the player. Let's look at Kuminga compared to his draft class. He went 7th in 2021. Here's who went after him. Franz Wagner, already a top 3 option on a playoff team. Alperen Şengün, an offensive hub in Houston. Trey Murphy, an elite 3-and-D wing. Herb Jones, arguably the best perimeter defender in his class. All 4 have carved out clear roles. Kuminga? Still trying to figure out what his role is. That's the most damning comparison. It's not that Kuminga is a bust, it's that everyone around him has already figured it out, and he's still developing. You might look at the raw numbers and think, wait, Kuminga improved. He averaged nearly 16 points the last 2 seasons. But context matters. Those points often came in meaningless stretches, not in crunch time. His usage increased because the Warriors were injured. He took more shots, but didn't make his teammates better. His assist-to-turnover ratio remained mediocre. His defensive impact? Still a net negative. This is the illusion of progress. Bigger numbers, but no winning impact. Development isn't just about stats, it's about impact, and Kuminga is still chasing that. We've laid out the flaws. We've talked about the poor decision-making, the empty stats, the underwhelming development. But here's the truth. Jonathan Kuminga's story isn't over, not even close. He's only 22 years old. Let that sink in. Most players his age are still figuring things out in college or barely getting minutes off the bench in the NBA. Kuminga? He's been thrown into the fire on a team with Hall of Fame veterans, championship expectations, and no margin for error. And while he's stumbled, he's also shown just enough flashes to keep the door open. Just enough to make you wonder if we're all giving up too soon. There are games, stretches even, where Kuminga looks like the best athlete on the floor. Not just for the Warriors, for both teams. Explosive first step, ferocious dunks, lockdown perimeter defense. He's had nights where he guarded Luka Doncic or Jason Tatum and held his own. He's had quarters where he put up 12 straight points and looked unstoppable in transition. When the game is simplified, when he's allowed to just run, cut, defend, and finish, he thrives. There's a real player in there. The question is, can he access that version consistently? Development in the NBA is rarely linear. Look at someone like Pascal Siakam, or Jaylen Brown, or even Andrew Wiggins, another toolsy forward who took years before he became reliable. Sometimes it takes the right system, the right coach, the right role to unlock a player. Sometimes it takes humility. Kuminga might be at that crossroads now. What if he were traded to a rebuilding team, with minutes to spare and no complex schemes? What if he played under a developmental coach who simplified the game for him? What if, instead of trying to mold him into a system piece, a team built a system around his strengths? Those scenarios could flip everything. Let's also be real. Very few 22-year-olds enter the league ready to impact a contender. The Warriors' expectations may have sped up his timeline unnaturally. Not everyone is built for playoff rotations in their first few years. And maybe that's okay. Maybe we need to stop comparing him to ready-made stars and start evaluating him on his own arc. He's got time, he's got talent, and he's got leverage, because teams around the league still believe in his upside. In trade talks, his name still draws interest. Front offices look at his tools and think, give him to us, we'll figure it out. That's rare, and that's hope. But make no mistake, hope has an expiration date in the NBA. The league doesn't hand out opportunities forever. Kuminga is approaching a pivotal point in his career. If he turns the corner, learns the mental side of the game, and buys into his role, he could still become an elite two-way wing, maybe even a fringe all-star. But if not, he's 1 or 2 seasons away from being passed around the league, stuck in ninth-man purgatory. So how bad is Jonathan Kuminga? Really? Bad enough that Warriors fans no longer see him as the future? Bad enough that opposing teams don't fear him? Bad enough that his name doesn't come up in serious all-star conversations, just trade rumors? But the worst part? He could have been so much more. He had the tools, he had the hype, he had the chance. But in the end, being a great athlete isn't enough. You have to be a great basketball player. And unless something changes, Jonathan Kuminga may go down as another what if in a league full of them.